This has been happening a lot. AI is taking tons of people's jobs. And also, there's an AI summary of the video that he did, too, if you can believe that.
I have something I wanted to talk about. I wasn't sure if I should, but if you've watched my channel for a while now, you'll know that I talk about how I do freelance work and I have a few different gigs that I do. And one of them, which I believe I've mentioned before, is that I do freelance writing. There's this one company that I've worked with for a few years now, and basically I would write blog articles for them. And how else can I say it? Recently, I lost this job to AI. I didn't actually get fired. It's not like they came to me and said, yo, we're replacing you with AI. Just put the fries in the bag, little bro. Because you don't really get fired from a freelance gig. It's more so a matter of whether or not they need you and whether or not they'll keep assigning you tasks. And I haven't been assigned anything recently. In the past few months, they've been pretty quiet, which is obviously unusual because I would usually get around 3 to 4 articles a month to write. It wasn't the main source of my income, but it was a decent chunk of it, and just a nice little side hustle I had going. In fact, I'd been working with them since back in college, just to make some money on the side. But anyways, it was like I haven't heard from them for a while. They haven't been giving me new articles to write, so I was curious.
You went to look it up?
One day I decided to go look on their website, check out their blog section, just to, you know, see what's going on. Like, did they just stop publishing blog articles because they're focusing on other aspects of the business? Maybe they're hiring new people to write it. Maybe I just didn't do a good enough job. Maybe they just slowed down a bit since we're reaching the end of the year and the holiday season and all of that. But when I actually clicked on the blog page for their site, I was kind of shocked to see what I saw.
Probably more than
Just
ever,
for more
right?
context, though, I did know that they worked with other freelance writers, but most of the articles on their site were written by me. I'd say like 60 to 70% of them. At least. Like I said, it would be around 3 to 4 per month from me, 1 or 2 maybe from a different writer, and that would come out to about 1 new blog article per week published on their site at best. Typically even a little less because it takes some extra time to actually get it published. And again, this is from the combined effort of me and these other writers. But this time when I checked their blog section of the website, I saw that they had like 4 full-length blog articles all published within 1 week, and obviously none of
That's crazy. Wow. They must have hired somebody who's really good.
of them were from me.
Wow.
So it looked like they're just pumping out articles en masse, and they were pretty good quality too. So it's like, okay, I see what you're doing. They literally went from like a few blog posts a month, maybe once a week at best, to like I think 4 in a single week.
Man.
And that's pretty.
How
that's
did that
a pretty
happen?
big improvement. And obviously this was coming
Flippy
from
can
AI.
write?
The reason why I know that, even though they didn't specifically say like, oh, we're doing this, is because I was actually warned about it beforehand. I know that
They told you it was going to happen. Like, yeah, by the way, like, you know it. Everybody knows this is going to happen. Just going to let you know.
Company has been experimenting
in case we stop
with
calling
AI
you.
tools for a while now. And what happened was that earlier in the year, they actually told me about it as like a reason to lower my pay. They actually asked me to switch over to creating AI generated articles for a much lower rate. They were saying like, hey, a lot of companies are using AI now. We were thinking about doing the same, but we still want to keep you around, have you as part of the team. But instead, we can just have you be the one generating these AI blog posts with a little bit of human
why didn't you do that?
there, and we'll still pay you, but at a lower rate. And obviously I didn't want to do that. I still wanted to make my money, so I sort of negotiated.
Man, that sucks. Yeah, he should. Yeah, your principal got you kicked. Yeah, well, no, he wanted to make more money because like they were gonna pay him less money. He says, no, I just want to make the same amount of money. I'll keep writing articles, and they said, okay.
At the time, I guess they still needed me, so we just kept the same rate for my original articles. And
this is, by the way, what a lot of companies are going to do, is that they're going to come to these compromises with employees, and they're going to compromise with the employees and still pay them regular wages until they can make enough money and have enough resources to just get rid of them entirely. That's what's going to happen. And then it's going to be like a slow phase out.
was going until recently, but it always was in the back of my mind that they could replace me with AI at any time if they really wanted to. That's just the nature of the business, and it's just hard to compete with AI nowadays. And it's not even like I wasn't using any AI to begin with either. Like even with my original articles that I'd write, I'd basically do the rough draft on my own. But I still would use like ChatGPT and ask them, hey, can you help me polish it up and fix any typos, replace any phrasing that you might think is awkward or that kind of stuff. So I was in part using AI as well because it saved me some time and made the writing a lot better. If you don't know already, ChatGPT, and especially like the paid version of it, it's extremely powerful. It can do a lot of stuff, and I've experimented with it. The company I work—
I mean, yeah, of course. I mean, well, he was using AI anyway. Yeah. Well, I mean, like, you think about it. I mean, if you're the company, would you have made this decision? Because I'll tell you, I would have. I absolutely would have. No, I think anybody would have.
They've experimented with it, and it can generate literally entire 1,000-word blog articles within seconds.
That's right.
For free, basically. So it's like, how can I compete with that? Honestly, I don't blame them for using AI instead of having to pay me a decent amount of money.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
If I were running a company, I'd probably also do the same if I wanted to maximize my profits.
100%.
It sucks, but that's just the way it is. Like in the past, there would be this whole workflow for getting an article published. I would get an article briefing assigned to me. I would usually finish up a draft, splitting up the work over the course of a few days, maybe like 5 to 6 hours total. Then I would send my draft back for revisions. They would send it back to me saying like, hey, there's some parts that we want you to change. I would make some final edits, and all of that would happen before the article could
Think about how much work that is. Think about how much time that takes the company to do. Of course they got rid of him. Yeah, absolutely. It's common sense.
About a week-long process.
I can't feel sorry for him. When the company warned him and he got complacent, he didn't bother coming up with a contingency plan. This video reeks a pity party. First, feel sorry for him. You snooze, you lose. I don't think he's really looking for pity. I mean, he literally said, I would have done the same thing. He's probably just talking about his experience just so other people are aware of it. I mean, I don't think they got like... we don't need to pop off and get mad at the guy. Like I don't think he's like really looking for a whole lot of sympathy here. He's just talking about it. Yeah, he's giving his insight. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure like obviously he's upset that it happened, and I'm sure he appreciates people that commiserate with him. I can empathize and say like, yeah, that sucks. Easily, that sucks. You lost your job. Definitely. Now, you know why. It makes sense why you lost your job. It completely makes sense. But on a personal level, of course, yeah, you can say it's sad. Sure.
Back and forth, and they paid me a decent amount. But now with AI, they can again generate an article, let's just say 80 to 90% of the quality of that, but they can do it within seconds, minutes at most, and don't have to pay ChatGPT aside from whatever subscription cost it might be.
That's right.
And it's not even just ChatGPT, by the way. That's just what I use, what most people use. But there's so many different AIs now, some of them in specialized areas. Like, for example, the platform that I would use to write my articles was this thing called Phrase. I don't know, maybe if you're also in the freelance writing space, you might be familiar with it. But it's essentially like a platform where as you write, it helps you keep track of SEO, keywords, and other important things. But earlier this year, I believe, they came out with their own generative AI, which can also just write an entire article within the click of a button. But they're also specialized in incorporating SEO, keywords, and stuff like that. So yeah, I've said it a lot of times before, but just from the market standpoint, how can I compete with that as a human being who needs much more money and much more time for that?
You can't. People can't compete with AI.
This is just where the world is going, it seems. Like, again, maybe in terms of quality, I can write an article just
People say not creativity? What do you mean not creativity? Look at how many boring fucking copy pasta games there are already. Like, if you think that AI is outside of creativity, then why the fuck did we get 50 different battle royales? None of those were made with AI, but they were still boring, and they were copy pastas to each other.
Even better, but asking me to do it over the course of a few days and overall a week versus AI doing it within a few seconds for really no money at all, it's an easy choice if you're the one who's running the business. I get it. And nowadays, if you're in really any industry where AI is playing a role, you're not only just competing against like ChatGPT or one specific AI. There are just so many different programs nowadays. AIs are competing against each other and making that even a saturated market. All of the companies behind them are competing with each other to try to make the best AI.
What a surprise.
These kinds of tools are only going to become more powerful as we head further and further into the future. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm cooked. Maybe we're cooked. Just
we are. Absolutely we are. 100%. It's not even a question. Anybody that can't see that's crazy. Yeah, a lot of these jobs, like, yeah, you're totally going to get, like, for example, think about how many jobs there were that involved being, like, using a printing press. Well, we don't have 90% of those now because most things are done digitally. Shit changes. And it always gets more efficient. Can this even be prevented? So my opinion is that it can't because global economies cause it to not be possible. So I think that inside of a closed ecosystem, it would be more possible for the United States to prevent this from happening. But the reason why I don't think it will is because you're going to have other countries that have different laws and different morality and ethics systems that will use this tool and then outcompete us in the free market. And I think also you're comparing, and the big problem there is consumer preference. So I think that assuming an equal product, and I think that the reason why people would use AI would be to create a better product. But let's assume that you create an equal product. One was used with AI, one was not. Will an average person be able to perceive a value increase from that? They might be able to, for sure. But I think that in the same way that people aren't really willing to, in a general scale, pay more money for like clothes or things that were made in America rather than like a sweatshop, I think that also people will not choose to consume content that was made by a actual person rather than AI. Like, it definitely exists, but the preference is like extremely weak. How can you stop progress? You can't. Do you think streamers will be replaced with AIs? Well, one already has. I mean, the best female streamer right now is a robot controlled by a man. And so what do you expect? And so this is what's going to happen more.
Put the fries in the bag, I guess. But yeah, it's like, how can you not?
Well, you don't put the fries in the bag. Flippy does that.
Because AI is coming to even the jobs that require some level of human creativity, like writing. It's crazy that ChatGPT can even do that now. I can try my best, but can't possibly compete with the pure efficiency of it. And neither can anyone, really. So maybe I just got unlucky.
And also, like, another problem is that, I mean, maybe I sound like an asshole for saying this, but like a lot of these like blog articles, there's no creativity involved in these blog articles at all. You have an AI written blog article, it's probably going to be better. Most of them are slop to begin with. So it's like, you want to talk about human creativity, like, yeah, maybe like, I don't know, like, you know, like a sculpture or something like that, or Picasso, yeah. But like, this isn't Picasso, you know, you're not Walt Whitman. You're just writing an article about like the top best places to like go for a vacation. And like, probably the way that you do that is you just look it up on Google and take somebody else's chart and then just add your own opinions into it. Like, it's really not creative a whole lot in the first place.
Maybe this isn't something you'll have to worry about. Maybe it'll never happen to you. I hope it never does.
It will.
I'm kind of curious, though, like if something similar has happened to you where your job, or at least part of it, has been replaced by AI. Feel free to share it in the comments because I'd really be interested in hearing that. But overall, I just wanted to share my experience. I'm not making this video to say like, oh, you should feel bad for me. I'm so sad now I lost my job. Again, like, I have other sources of income as well, since I'm sort of just like hustling, and I did kind of see it coming. This company sort of tried to warn me about it in advance, which is at least better than just like cutting me off immediately. True. But yeah, it's just something to keep in the back of your mind, like AI is here now. your time has come, buddy. But I hope just on a societal level, we can figure something out.
You can't, because other companies in other countries will outcompete you in the free market and you will lose. So if you try to figure out some way to keep these jobs on life support, all you're going to do is run out of money from revenue because nobody's going to be buying the products. That's the truth. That's what's going to happen.
On a personal level, one more thing I wanted to say. Maybe you can take this even as advice if it's something you happen to agree with. But at least what I've noticed is that the only way to make sure that you won't be replaced in whatever you do is to make yourself irreplaceable. For example, a job I would say that's irreplaceable is like being an athlete or something, or even some other forms of like manual labor, because we don't literally have robots or anything yet. But also another form of job, or whatever you want to call it, that won't be replaced by AI is authentic content creation, like YouTube. And
I disagree with that. I think that you will see a rise of AI content creators. And I think that you'll also see people prefer AI content creators. I think it's going to happen because a lot of people, and this is especially true with like the weird, like touchy-feely type people, they get really weird about the way that a content creator evolves. Like, for example, like a streamer, like if you have an AI streamer girl, she never has to get a boyfriend and she never has to age. I feel like that's a pretty good advantage. That's like having an elf. So if you have that, well, fuck. That's a license to print money.
That's part of the reason why I'm doing this channel, along with the other travel and outdoors channel that I recently started. So check that out if you're interested in that. But I realized that this is a way to make money that actually can't possibly be replaced by AI. Because at the end of the day, AI can't replace the human experience. It can replicate...
I think they can. I think it can. I don't think the human experience is as unique and special as people imagine it to be. I'll be totally honest.
Tasks that you do, but it can't replicate the experiences that you've lived or the stories that you have to tell.
Yep. What should I do? Being replaced by AI, leverage your writing skills in new ways. How about you know, go rob the local McDonald's? Yeah, there you go. I was supposed to believe that this, what is this here? Anyway, yeah, I think this guy is coming up with a lot of good points. I remember seeing it put succinctly. I wanted AI to do my chores while I got to draw and write, but all these companies are developing AI to draw and write while I still do the damn chores. I don't think that this is the problem. I think the real problem is, so you still have drawing and writing even though we invented photographs. The problem is not AI. The problem is the reliance on having a job in order to exist in society. If you didn't need to have a job, you wouldn't have people that were angry about AI. 90%, if not more, of the uncertainty and frustration with AI is not actually about AI itself. It's about AI cannibalizing this person's career. So that's the real problem. AI is just simply a manifestation of it. And I think that really, I'll link you guys this guy's video. I mean, it's disappointing this is happening, but in case you don't want to watch the video, there's also an AI summary that's made of the video. If you don't want to watch the video about him losing his job to AI, you can watch the AI summary of the video to avoid having to do that. So yeah, there you go.